This article called "What is the Currency of Ireland?" I wrote for my client called Currency Transfer, and it is currently getting around 47.6 thousand clicks per month and has 493 top three keywords. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. Now, first things first, and I've got a little Miro board here that I'm going to draw on and show you guys. First things first is deciding what the actual topic of the article is going to be about. Now, this is probably the biggest skill with SEO, is determining what you're going to write about for your client. Now, this takes some time because you need to get to know your client. You need to get to know what ranks and what doesn't, and how Google recognizes the client. And from there, you can then start to produce articles that you know are going to be hits. So I've been working with this client for quite a while now, and I know that currency articles tend to do quite well. A previous article that did very well was top 20 currencies, which I believe still does very well. This article, so if you type in top 20 currencies, it might appear here. I know that this article did very well, and in my experience, currency articles for this client do very well. Google has clearly recognized Currency Transfer as being an authority. So by authority, this means that Google will make an assessment of your site and determine it to be an authority on a certain topic based on its EEAT principles. Okay. Now, this is quite a complicated thing, and it's slightly vague because also Google doesn't reveal the exact metrics it uses. But this is something that you can essentially guess by lots of SEO work. So every site, if we just go to the base domain, every site will have an authority score. Now, an authority score is SEMrush's metric, its proprietary metric, but every single SEO tool will have it, and Google will have their own one. This is essentially just a very strong guesstimate as to what it is, but it's a score between 0 and 100. So new sites will obviously have 0, and sites such as like Wikipedia, Forbes will have 100. So they are considered to be as close to the truth as possible and a genuine authority on a particular topic. And Google will then rank that higher than other things. So, for example, if Wikipedia or Forbes decided to write this article with the exact same title and the exact same content, theirs would rank higher because Google would determine it to be a stronger source. So bear that in mind when you're picking the title of your article. Is what can you essentially get away with? What will Google see you as an authority for over other things? So with each client and each niche, you need to determine what would our brand be known for if we were to write an article, and what would Google determine us to be the authority on. Now, the higher the authority score you go and the stronger the site, the more you can get away with and the more broad the topic, because then you can show your authority on that particular thing. So essentially, the lower the authority score, the more specific you have to be, because you are ranking in a smaller pool of sites. You're competing with less people, whereas something about the currency of Ireland is very competitive, and I would only attempt to do this with a site with a high authority and one that I know will rank for currency. So that's just a brief thing. I could speak for hours about this, but picking the right thing to talk about, picking your battles, is the first step and probably the most important step. So in every article, when you start, it's just good to sort of draw people in with a nice introduction. Okay. And this is just for, readability, to just like draw people in, because you've got to remember, you're going to have people that are actually looking to read it and people that are just going to scan it for information. So that's the introduction there. Then you have what I call, in fact, no, let me just go this part here. So this part is what I call the snippet. So in every Google search, okay, so if we take, for example, Ireland currency, what comes up here is the snippet. You see this? And snippets are now getting more and more advanced, especially now with AI mode, which has just dropped in the UK a few months ago in the US. Essentially, what this is bots and crawlers crawling your site and determining what the actual answer is. So in this section, you essentially need to answer the entire article in 1 or 2 sentences, which is what I do in every single article to ensure that the crawlers can find the information as easily as possible. So as you can see here, the euro is the official currency of the Republic of Ireland. The euro is split to 100 cents. Both banknotes and coins are common use. There we go. You've answered the entire thing in 2 sentences. It's the euro. So from here, you then need to think about, okay, what else are we going to have in the article? And we've got lots of things here. So for each section, we are essentially trying to now rank for other things to do with the currency. So people might not just be searching what is the currency of Ireland. They might also be looking for denominations. Okay, and we've got here all the denominations that they can use, all the coins, and small facts about it as well. You're now essentially, because you've determined authority on this, on answering the question, you're now almost bleeding into other keywords. So here we now have a brief history of Irish currency. So often what I like to do is, for readability's sake and also to make sure we cover everything, is have a slightly chronological aspect to the article. So start with the history or the background of it. And as you can see here, we've got, before the euro, the Republic of Ireland used the Irish pound. The Irish pound was established in 1928. A small history about how the euro came to be, and then the actual switch to the euro, which was quite significant. And another point is that also we've got here the Irish pound article, which is another article that we've written. Here we go, which is another article we've written about Irish currency. So it reinforces the point that we're making here. So again, with SEO, backlinks are another thing. So you want to make sure that your article is backlinked and interlinked as much as possible, because that also determines authority too. Because the amount of like arrows pointing towards it saying this is an authority on this topic, and it has many sources that go out that they can find out everything that they need to know, the more you do that, the better. Okay, so yeah, we've now got the next one with why did Ireland adopt the euro? Now, this is another question that I theorize people might be looking for, and then we have all the answers here. And then the next one, I thought, okay, currency in Northern Ireland as well. And then, as you can see here, Northern Ireland is part of the United Kingdom, and thus use British pounds. When you visit from the Republic of Ireland, you have to spend euros on the south, and then pounds in the north. Another snippet, as you can see here. So I've actually attempted to rank for another search term, which is a lot smaller, but it's what is the currency specifically in Northern Ireland. Okay. And that I have noticed that it has actually ranked on SEMrush as well. So we're also getting a bit of traffic for this. Now, another one here, Irish euro coin design. Essentially what we're trying to do here is cover everything that someone would need to know, like absolutely everything they would need to know if they're searching for the currency in Ireland, like why they're searching for it, like what they might want to be doing for, like the history, the design, like everything. Okay, so we've got some small facts here. And then also, I know that a lot of people looking for this kind of stuff are looking for, like, they're about to go on holiday to Ireland. So you've got to think about your ICP and exactly what they're doing, you know. And then I've got this section here, which is just tips for travelers. You know, going abroad, like what you need to know about, okay, if you're trying to convert to some Irish currency and you want to go there, what do you actually need? And then another point is that in every article, you want to have as much variety in the text as possible. So you always want to have heading 1, H1, H2s, H3s, then bullet points, and like bullet points within tips like that, and multiple pictures as well. You want to make the article as rich as possible. Not only does it just make it more interesting to look at and easier to read, Google likes this as well because it shows it's a well-informed, well-written piece that people actually want to read. Then more here, and then every single article, I always have a conclusion or a sort of like wrap up of the article. Now, because at the end of the day, what you want people to do is sign up. Okay. So the point of all this is to gather conversions, is to get people to use your client's service. It's a lead generation tool at the end of the day. So for every conclusion, you basically, in the first part, you want to summarize the article here. Okay, you want to basically summarize everything that's been said in this article and sort of give it a good snippet, and then basically lead into the second part, which is where you want to have the CTA. So I always end it with something like, if you're looking for an efficient solution to transfer currency into various countries, take a look at our platform. Currency Transfer offers access to a network of payment providers, live quotes, and 5-star customer service. Sign up today. So essentially, it's drawing people in, saying, okay, now we've reached the end of the article. To go from here, almost to sort of continue our journey, you are, that's where the journey continues. And then, very important, but also underrated, and becoming increasingly more important. Now, watch this video in 5 years, because in my opinion, authors online are going to become very, very, very important, because Google is fighting against the tide of low quality content, and it wants to keep raising the bar of what it considers high quality. Now, one way it's doing this is it started tracking authors. So in a leak that happened, I think like a year ago, it was found that they were actually tracking authors. So you want to have your name and then like a nice bio here, and then preferably, unfortunately I don't have it on this article, but preferably a link to your socials as well, all green ticks for SEO, because it adds to the EEAT quality that you're trying to achieve. So yeah, once you've written the article, then publish it. Make sure it's indexed as well, and you can do this by going to Google Search Console and clicking Request Indexing to make sure it's at the front of the queue. And then from there, wait around a couple of weeks, and then it should start ranking. But in some cases, it might take a while to start ranking properly. Like, as you can see here, we published this article in April 28th, and it didn't start properly pulling in traffic until July. Sorry, that's UK. But yeah, as you can see, like, okay, first month, 130 clicks a month, 11,000, and then it's slowly jumping up, and it's probably hit about a plateau now of around 47,000. It might go up more, it might come down, but yeah, it does take a few months, even in high performing sites like this, to actually see any good results. So yeah, that's how to write an article for SEO.